Hello and welcome to DJ Charlie Sports World. Today's segment is going to be on the NFL. And before you say anything, I want you to know that I follow the two major sports in America, which is American football, which the whole world knows as rugby, but they know it as football there, and also the NBA, which is the Basketball Association. NBA. I follow both sports. I'm an avid fan of both sports. So it's unusual for me because I'm a Nigerian and the dominant sport here is soccer. And we follow here in Nigeria. What we follow is the English Premier League mostly. Those are the clubs we support, and by extension, we also watch the UEFA Champions League. We watch the other competitions in Europe like the La Liga, League One in Spain, and also the Italian Serie A. But let me talk about today's segment. I watch different sports shows from the US over here in Nigeria. I watch like five I watch more than five, but the five ones that I usually watch for my content and that I like watching generally are ESPN's First Take and Get Up. ESPN's First Take is owned by Stephen A. Smith, is the lead on ESPN's First Take. Mike Greenberg is the lead on Get Up, but they have different contributors that they bring, but they moderate it themselves, but they bring different contributors on a daily basis. So also I watch FS1's Undisputed, First Things First, and Speak, where Acho, my Nigerian brother Emmanuel Acho, is the moderator. Undisputed, Skip Bayless is the moderator. His partner used to be Unc. I call him Unc. We all call him Unc in the sports world. His name is Shannon Sharp. He is an NFL legend. He's one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL. So, but at the end of the NBA season, last season, he resigned from the show and he ended his contract with the show. So we've all been waiting for Skip to pick new partners over the summer. He hasn't done so, but fortunately for us, sports world, he did so like 3 or 4 days ago. So yeah, he's trying to copy Stephen A's First Take. It's not going to be a one-on-one debate with him and Skip anymore. This time he's going to be using different he has an ensemble cast and he's going to be using different contributors. His contributors are his table contributors are Richard Sherman and Keyshawn Johnson, both NFL legends. Keyshawn is the last receiver to be the #1 overall pick. Richard Sherman was an ugly monster defensive end in his career. He was he's generally known as one of the best defensive players in the history of the NFL. So those are two Hall of Fame caliber contributors. His third contributor is Michael Irvin, the playmaker himself, the legendary Dallas Cowboys playmaker. He's a playmaker. He's a wide receiver by trade, but what he does is he's known as a playmaker because he makes plays at the various stages in the game when plays need to be made. So he's part of the legendary Dallas Cowboy dynasty that won back-to-back trophies in the 90s. So those are his permanent contributors. I was watching the show yesterday when I saw Rachel, I've forgotten her surname now, formerly of ESPN, that was let go. She used to be on Sports Center on ESPN and she was let go due to some issues when she had a racially, I can't be too sure now, but I know it was racially between her and I've forgotten the other lady. So it's like 3 years ago now, so I can't really remember right now. So I saw Rachel there yesterday, but today's segment is going to be very, very quickly now, because I've spent a lot of time introducing the segment. So today's segment is going to be on the argument I saw yesterday, the debate I saw yesterday between Richard Sharma, Keyshawn Johnson, and Skip. That he was basically comparing Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals, the superstar quarterback, to Patrick Mahomes boy. He has resurrected his debate he usually has with Shannon Sharp again with these guys. I wasn't really shocked though, but it caught me by surprise. So basically, what they did was the segment was, who is the better quarterback, Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow? So I was fascinated by the argument, by their various arguments, but I just want to bring you my own perspective on the Patrick Mahomes versus Joe Burrow's debate. So let me just quickly do the run through of their regular season stats and their I will quickly compare their all-time regular season stats and their last regular season 2022-2023 season stats. Okay, without missing words, let me start. I will start by listing the categories, and I will now say Joe Burrow's own, then I will now say Patrick Mahomes' own. So games played, Joe has played 42 games while Patrick has played 80 games, because Patrick has been in the league 3 years before Joe was drafted. So the completion rate, total completion, Joe has 1044, Patrick has 1985, which is 1985. Passing touchdowns, Joe has 82, Patrick has 192. Passing yards, Joe has 11,774, Patrick has 24,241. Interceptions, 31 for Joe, 49 for Patrick. Interception percentage, 2.2% for Joe, 1.6% for Patrick. Now let me talk about that stat. That stat shows, because like I earlier said, Patrick has been in the league 3 years before Joe came in, so obviously his stats will be higher than Joe, but the percentage will now let you know that on a per match basis, this is what Patrick has and this is what Joe has. So on a per match basis, Joe makes 2.0% of his passes leads to interceptions, while 1.6% of Patrick passes leads to interceptions. So the longest pass yard Joe has ever had is 67, while Patrick's longest yard is 89, which is incredibly high. Joe's passing yard per game will let us know that he has lower than Patrick. He has 280.3, while Patrick has 303.0. This shows you that even though Patrick has been in the league longer than Joe, he still has more passing yard per game than Joe. Then their quarterback rating, 89.8 over 42 matches for Joe, while 108.7, one of the highest in the history of the sport, in 80 games for Patrick. Then their win-loss is, Joe has 23 victories, 17 losses and 1 draw, while Patrick has 64 victories compared to 16 losses, to give him a win ratio of 80%, while Joe has a win ratio of just 54.7%. But this has to be in context, because Joe came into, I have to be honest about that, Joe came into a terrible situation with the Cincinnati Bengals, who had back-to-back seasons of like 2 wins or something. So he came into a terrible situation, and he has improved their situation massively. But Pat also did wonders when he joined the Kansas City Chiefs, because their previous quarterback was Alex Smith. He was a perennial Pro Bowler too, but not in any level of Patrick. So last regular season, games played, Joe played 16, Patrick played 17. The reason why Joe played 16 games last season was not because he was not available, but the one game had to be scratched because of a terrible situation that happened that time. I could remember. I think it was a game between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Buffalo Bills of Josh Allen, where that the young man Damar Hamlin, one of the Bills safety, he had a terrible attack on the pitch and he almost lost his life. He had cardiac arrest issues and all health issues. He almost lost his life and we were all praying for him back then. He really trended during that time. So that was why Joe played 16 games and Patrick played the full 17 games. So Joe completed 414 passes, Patrick completed 435. Joe had 35 passing touchdowns, 6 rushing touchdowns, for a total number of 41 touchdowns, while Pat had 41 passing touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns to have 45 total touchdowns. Joe had 4,475 passing yards, while Pat had 5,250 passing yards. Then the passing yard per game for Joe was 279.7, while Patrick beat him again to that with 308.8 passing yards. The quarterback rating for Joe was 100.8, while quarterback rating for Patrick was 105.2. They both had 12 interceptions. So the completion percentage for Joe was a percentage higher than Patrick. He had 68.3, while Patrick had 67.1. The win-loss record was 12-4 for Joe, then 14-3 for Patrick. He totaled the same number of wins as the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC. They won 14 and lost 3. In the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs was the number one overall. Was the number one overall pick. What was the number one overall win leader with 14-3, and meaning they qualified for the Patrick Mahomes AFC Championship invitation. I will talk about that later as I expand on this. Then I did a quick career overview for them to compare their careers. So let me do Burrow's run through. Burrow, the number one overall pick for the Cincinnati Bengals, who were a woeful franchise before he came in. Like I said, they had, I think, 2 win seasons back to back. He came in and he revived their fortunes. Now they are a perennial Super Bowl contender. In his 3 years there, he's already been to the AFC Championship games twice and the Super Bowl, where he lost to the Los Angeles Rams in 2021. He's one-time Pro Bowler and he hasn't been an MVP yet or an All-Pro yet. So that's for Burrow. Then for Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes was drafted 12 overall in the 2017 draft when Alex Smith was still Casey's quarterback. So his first season, he didn't play until the last game of the season. So he started fully in 2018 and immediately had over 5,000 yards in his first season as a starter, when the NFL still had 16 games on the calendar. It was only last season that the game period started to be 17, and he won NFL MVP in the first season as a starter. He got to the AFC Championship game and only lost to Tom Brady's New England Patriots when Brady was still with the Patriots. Since then, he's never failed to get to the championship game. At least 5 straight times he has gone to the AFC Championship game, made 3 Super Bowls, won 2 with 2 finals MVP. He's been a Pro Bowler 5 times for his first 5 full seasons, and he's 3 times All-Pro, which means he's been one of the 2 best quarterbacks in the league for 3 of his 5 full seasons, and he has won 2 regular season MVPs in 5 seasons. I love Joe Burrow so much. He's a fearless guy. He's fearless. He's contagious with his teams. They are braggadocio in nature. They brag a lot because they know they have him is him. They have him as their quarterback. I love him. For me, he's easily the second best quarterback right now in the NFL, but he's not Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry. From everything that I've listed, you should see that the difference is as clear as night and day. The difference between Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, who is the second quarterback, to me is like the difference between Joe Burrow and somebody like Matthew Stafford, who is for me like the 10th best, or somebody like, let me not use Stafford. Stafford is a Super Bowl winner. Let me use somebody like Daniel Jones, or let me see Daniel Jones, or let me see Derek Carr. Do you understand? That's the difference between Pat and Burrow. Before Burrow can surmount Pat, he needs 3 seasons basically, because he has to win at least 2 MVPs. He has to win at least a Super Bowl, and he has to be a Pro Bowler at least twice before he will meet Patrick. And don't forget, Patrick will also be building his own resume. He's not going to just sleep. He's not retiring anytime soon. Do you understand? I would say Patrick is on his way to meet the GOAT, Brady himself. He's only contesting with Brady right now. He's not even contesting with any player playing right now. He's already surpassed Aaron Rodgers. Do you understand? For me, he's already surpassed Peyton Manning. That's why the fact that Peyton won like 5 regular season MVPs, but Peyton was terrible in the playoffs. Do you understand? The only 2 quarterbacks for me that Patrick Mahomes has not surpassed is the GOAT himself, Thomas Patrick Brady, and Joe Montana. Those are the only 2 quarterbacks I still have ahead of Patrick Mahomes right now, not to now start comparing Joe Burrow to him. So let's continue with their head-to-head. Burrow leads him actually. Burrow has won 3 times in their matchups, while Pat has only won once. That is the last AFC Championship game that they played just this recently concluded season. And if you are even going to look at their comparison for this previous season alone, you have to remember one thing. Tyreek Hill, one of the most explosive weapon in the NFL, left Patrick and signed with Miami to play with the Miami Dolphins. Do you understand? So he left because he wasn't compensated enough like he wanted. So look at Patrick's number. His best receiver last season was Juju Smith-Schuster. Do you understand? And Kadarius Toney, who left the New York Giants because the Giants didn't even want him. Do you understand? And people like, I don't know, the rookies like Sky Moore. Do you understand? So those are his receivers. Of course, he had the GOAT tight end, one of the best 3 tight ends in the history of the NFL, in Travis Kelce, which is his number 1 weapon. I won't argue that. But compare that to Burrow's Ja'Marr Chase, who is arguably the best receiver in the league. T. Higgins, who will be the best if it comes to Kansas City Chiefs, he will easily be the number 1 receiver. And Tyler Boyd will be the number 1 receiver if he was with the Kansas City Chiefs. And he has Joe Mixon, one of the best running backs. In fact, the highest paid running back in the league, in Joe Mixon, the second highest paid, sorry, after McCaffrey. So, and last season he had the 6th overall best defense, while Kansas City had a middle of the pack defense, like the 16th or the 17th rated defense. So the comparison is not, and he won the Super Bowl. Please, do you understand what I'm saying? He won the Super Bowl with all those, with Juju Smith-Schuster as his number 1 receiver. It's even very funny to me. Do you understand? So we don't want to start that comparison right now. It's unfair to Joe Burrow. He's nowhere near what Patrick is. I'm sorry this segment took a lot of time because I had to like lay in. So Joe, I love you. You are a great superstar, but you are not in part. Patrick is 1 of 1. Do you understand? That is that about that. For more of this entertaining and mind-blowing debates and opinion and insights, click on the subscribe button and follow me for more of this. Thank you and God bless.